Okay, Jay, it was nice having you today. You've been in fitness industry for a long time. You've been doing yourself, you got loads of things you understood over like a decade over. And then you also been teaching people, coaching in fitness the last couple of years. So I want to know your background, where it started, how did you get involved, what was the motivation, and what you've been doing the last couple of years coaching other people in fitness and what you learned from it. So a little bit of background, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Always. So yeah, I got into fitness at about 15 years old. I was 15 and a half, and I was motivated by being a teenager. You kind of start thinking, about your personal development. Also, you start thinking about, what do girls like, and you kind of like, want to become better, and you kind of start thinking about your improvement and how you want to be seen by other people. So that's kind of like the motivation, a little bit. But the actual like, trigger was having a friend that actually went to the gym. It was just around the corner from school. And he said, okay, we're going to the gym after school. And then went that first day and it became something that I just became really deeply involved in, like,
Okay, as a 15-year-old.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that really helped, I think, my development and growth because that influence it had on other people at a young age, when you're very impressionable, to get that kind of like amount of respect, even from, boys and girls when you're a teenager, that then helps your confidence and it helps you believe that, oh, yeah, you're a capable person, which, I think was so crucial for the developmental years of, me even finishing high school and having things that you can feel proud of and you can feel like, you have a good self-esteem as well. So yeah,
It starts at the foundation for your, I think, newly evolving personality, characters
yes,
that it will
yes.
struggle during this period of life.
Yeah, 100%. And it doesn't have to be gym, but for a man at least, whether it's the gym, whether it's maybe it's martial arts, maybe he's learning a new skill, like for a teenager, it's very important to build up their confidence and their skills. Yeah.
And starting at the gym is the good starting point because you can really regulate it, you can start it, and get some sort of results. And the result is really consistency. If you can develop consistency at 50-year
Yes.
old, you are really honing into something, the most important problem that you're going to face in the future.
100%, like going to the gym helps build up that discipline and routine that then flows into the other areas of your life. Yeah. So, when I was able to build up a routine of going to the gym and actually, hold discipline with the days of the week I was going, not only was it positively reinforced by feeling confident, feeling good, looking at myself in the mirror, and then having that positive, reinforcement from peers because they see your body start changing. So that's kind of how, I've, developed myself to now also be able to teach other people and help other people achieve the same thing.
So nowadays, we get heard that teenagers or younger people have a huge problem of keeping their focus steady enough. It's a huge focus issue because of distractions. Working out or gym or building something is like all about focus. You're
Yeah.
really honing into, I mean, zoning into attention and you're learning for a long time. That I understand it solves the problem they're going to face 5, 10 years later from the age 15. So, and it also doesn't require a lot of knowledge that a teenager doesn't have. So, how do they, what will be your advice for anyone who's listening, who's 14, 15, and they're trying to do something in life, who have better ambitions, higher ambitions? And how do they start with their workouts? And some of probably gyms don't even allow under 18. It's true.
Yeah, so that was partly my issue.
Yeah.
When I went into the gym, I was in the category of age that I couldn't use the free weight section. So I wasn't allowed to use dumbbells, wasn't allowed to use plates, I could only use the machines. And then obviously I'll look at the gym reception staff and then I would like, go hurry on, and do, and, trick them a little bit. But when it comes to, yeah, advice for, I guess, people age 15 to 20, when it comes to focus, when it comes to building up that self control. Yeah, going to the gym is a level of self control and self control in the fact of not sabotaging with unhealthy foods, self control with not feeling like, oh, I would rather just go on my phone, I'd rather just go hang out with friends, like that kind of self control. And building that up, helps you as you mature into adulthood that you need to have those kind of skills.
Exactly. Exactly. And any other thing that I can do, for example, going into any social events. Gym is also a good way to get out of your comfort zone and interact with other people. And do you even think of going into like social workouts like Pilates, yoga? Because that does not require lifting weights. So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, 100%. I think as a man, that's, you can consider yourself a gym bro. Go and do a yoga workout and tell me how easy it is, because it is not easy to do, yoga and Pilates. And so, have a lot of respect for the women, because that's a very female dominated type of, physical exercise.
Exactly.
But yeah, same with running. I tell people like, hey, like if you don't like running and you want to be healthy and you want to be fit, the best way to do that is join a social sport.
Exactly.
You're killing multiple birds with one stone. You're getting healthier, you're building connections with people, and people who are aligned with the same values of, wanting to be healthy, wanting to, look after themselves. So I 100% agree with
And
that.
the sparrows and one arrows. Classic design.
Yeah, exactly. You said something earlier about focus and attention. And I tell people that working out and having to focus on your breath, having to focus, and especially when it comes to bodybuilding, style exercises, you're having to count the numbers, you're having to regulate your breath, and you're having to purely focus on the weight. And that in of itself is a type of meditation.
Huge.
It's a type of meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because meditation isn't about not thinking of anything. It's about being able to focus on something without being distracted. And that's why so many people, they know they feel good from going to the gym and bettering themselves, but they don't know, what it is exactly that's happening behind the scenes. And it gives them a place to not have the constant thoughts, of their life, what they're going to be eating tonight, because, they've got to focus on making sure.
You are concentrating every single day.
Yes.
To one thing. And that is going to be your biggest problem moving forward to any building the muscle memory internally. That through these workouts.
Yeah, 100%.
And being in the fitness industry, you have seen a lot of things that don't work, lots of gimmicks, hypes, and stuff like that. And you have also seen many things that do work, because you have really built a nice shredded physique, which is not easy to do. I work out once in a while. I've been working out always. I've been health conscious, but building muscle is a different game.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't want to take those stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And what was your experience on that? Really, I know that you are not on stuff, because you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
And without that, building muscle is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah.
It's like you go to the gym once, you don't notice a result, right? And you go to the gym twice, you don't notice a result.
Yeah.
If you can give yourself the mindset of actually having the awareness to know that it's not going to be something that's going to happen today or tomorrow, but continue to stick out with that process, that's when you then become more comfortable with detaching from the outcome and just focusing on the input of doing the right habits. And this, we could get into so many different topics around training and nutrition, and I could be with you for hours and, but let it all out. But at the end of the day, it's about being able to recognize that it needs to come from a different place of not just pure muscle result, but also because you feel good, you're doing well for yourself, because then you're becoming intrinsically motivated, which is really important when it comes to success of achieving your goals, is to be intrinsically motivated and not externally motivated. So
What do you mean about intrinsic motivation?
Yeah, so intrinsic motivation means essentially coming from within and having a motivation that is more self-desired, in a sense that if I want to get abs on the beach, that's an external intrinsic goal that once it's achieved, where do you go from there? Well, I got the abs on the beach now, and maybe I got there, but it didn't have substance. But to be someone that wants to be healthy, well, healthy is vague enough and something that can be lifelong, right?
Right.
And so being healthy is a value to have. Like, I'm a healthy person. And when you start creating that kind of personality and mindset, that's when it becomes intrinsically motivated, and you're way more likely to stay consistent long term.
Right. So you're not setting an objective benchmark that probably can be achieved, often misunderstood. For example, someone wants to build because he wants to go on the beach and probably pick up girls. Objective benchmark. That will be a difficult, much more harder. Like, it's going to be harder than if you have a vague or ambiguous driver that cannot be fully caught, but also it works in the background like a slow art.
like for instance, I want to get a girlfriend. Well, once you get the girlfriend, do you stop working out? Do you stop being healthy? But I want to be healthy. Well, healthy is something that needs to be maintained, and it's something that's within. You can't, you can see health on the outside, but it's something that is intrinsically motivated, and that can be applied to not just fitness. We do this with my sales reps. It's like, hey, let's put money aside about how much money you're going to make. How about you do it also because of the fact that you want to be a good communicator, and it's within your values to want to be able to help people. So once we start seeing your role and your career as someone that can help people instead of just how much money I can make, even when the money's not rolling in, you're able to have purpose and meaning with what you're doing.
Right. So mindset really comes down to a thing of a mindset. You've been working on that for about years. So yeah, how does it correlate to the mindset and bodybuilding? Because the more I try getting into working out, getting physique, mindset is the driver. Yeah, I did. So what's the lens one person can go for that will help them to wellness goal? What mindset do you evolve? Because you started with like, let's look better, get girls. This is a mindset a lot of people start, and then you have developed a different one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me at first it was to feel good about myself. It was to, feel like I am someone that could be respected. When you're a teenager, respect would come in the form of or do I have a good body? Am I popular? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, I have massive discipline around it now, but it's a fight. And something that I learned, and I teach my clients, I teach everyone in life, is that discipline is not something that you have or don't have. It's something that you fight with. And when you have that mindset, you realize that discipline isn't an easy thing. And it's not like as if the people that are disciplined, they just have it. No, like they fall off track too. So yeah, discipline is not something that you either have or don't have. It's something you have to fight with daily. And when you see it that way, you realize that it's not going to come easy. You have to fight for that discipline. And having that like sense of relief of knowing that like, oh, right, like it's not supposed to be easy. It makes it easier to do it, because when you think it's like, supposed to be an easy thing to do, and it's just something that I do, you think, oh, okay, well, it's just not within my, my ability to be disciplined. But that's not the case.
Expectations align.
Exactly. Yeah. Your expectations are, oh yeah, I either have the discipline or I don't have it. I tell people like, hey, like people look at me as a disciplined person, but I'm like, trust me, I'm not perfect. We put a lot of athletes, we put a lot of businessmen on pedestals as being these people who are just like, unhumane, they're on a different level. I can assure you, Alex Hormozi, I can assure you, Michael Phelps, all these amazing athletes and people that we look up to, they have their flaws with their discipline. They sabotage themselves too.
Yeah.
It's about realizing that once you fall off the horse, you get back up on the horse. I tell my clients all the time, there's nothing wrong. I say, the saying, there's nothing, when you fall off the horse, you get back up.
Absolutely.
So the issue that most people have is that when they fall off the horse, they say, fuck it. And they wave goodbye to the horse as it runs off.
Sure.
And that's where you got to catch that realization of realizing that, oh yeah, right. Like, the issue is that I fell off the track. Last weekend I went out partying, and now Monday's come around and I didn't go to the gym when I was supposed to. And realizing the pattern that's starting to happen. Oh, I'm falling off the horse. I'm letting it run away. Okay, like what would the version of me that I know I want to be do? Well, they would get back up on the horse and I'd go to the gym the next day. But if you're on autopilot and you don't have that awareness, that reflection, it makes it very hard. And that's what, people obviously get my psychology fitness coach.
When I hear you telling about this, there are a couple of things I notice here. One is the reflection model. Like you have to have a mental model that always reflects on yourself. At the same time, you just don't blame yourself. Like, okay, child off the horse, because it is expected, it happens, and it's your spring that comes back.
Yeah.
These 2 points are fulfilled. That's the root of discipline.
Yeah, for sure. Reflection. That's one of the skills. And in essence, when someone goes to therapy and psychology, the therapist is asking them questions that get them to reflect on how they've been thinking and some of their behaviors. And it gives them that opportunity to question, well, how am I thinking? Is it conducive to my well-being? Is it, am I thinking in a way that, like a positive person would? And so once you start getting to them to have those reflections, they start coming to their own conclusions rather than having not had someone be with them along that path, and have those conversations. And that's what I do.
And nowadays we are so much in trances, all kinds of trance is happening around is you. If you are not taking your time to reflect on yourself, you might not even do it 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because you always have some sort of, what's called a trigger. And it's not trigger, it's called stimuli.
Yes.
Stimuli,
Yes.
like
Yes.
multiple
Yeah.
stuff around.
Yeah, and it's a muscle. Like for instance, the other day I was getting frustrated because I was trying to find an apartment here, in Da Nang, and I was starting to get like angry, and the real estate agent could visibly see that. And for me, I felt like I was outlaying emotionally, and it was helping me. And then I had to sort of go, hold on, like, I'm upset right now, I'm frustrated, and it's not helping me. Okay, you know what? Like, I need to let go of that. And I needed to, be positive, because that's going to make me not feel like as if this issue is weighing down on me. But if I emotionally outlet frustration, anger, annoyance, then I'm validating that it is a problem. So if I can, in fact, change the way I see it, that, hey, this mindset of me being frustrated about my current situation is not helping me, then I can align with myself with how I would want to be in this situation.
Right.
Another thing, when you feel like things are not going your way in life, when you feel like, the world's beating down on you, things are going wrong, and you're just like, you just can't deal with what's going on. Having the ability to be that person that can brush the dirt off their shoulders, is such a massive mindset skill that has helped me to get through so much stress.
I think the one criteria I have seen most successful people have. There's one girl, she is an actress, kind of famous actress in India. So she was dancing, and the director said that, hey, your dance is shit. It's really bad. But she became semi-famous later, as kind of now she's doing very well. The point is, the answer she gave in one interview is that, oh, yeah, when he said that, I didn't take it personally. It happened as a feedback. It's a 19-year-old girl, somehow gifted that she has the skill that many 49 years old doesn't have. So she said that, okay, it's just a feedback I got, and I just brush it off and move forward. I think this is a skill, because you will get all the things being thrown at you all the time. So like, nobody in this world will be just walking on path and everything smooth as butter. It's not gonna be about that.
Yeah.
You will get things. How do you deal with it? It's like a spectrum of multiplicity. You cannot control the variance, but you can just control, would you just grab onto them, like grabbing a devil by the tail, or just letting it go, the devil comes off. So that's one skill you develop, and you saw the difference as well. It happens everywhere. Every day is being happening.
Yeah, man. When you feel like, whether it's work's really stressful, maybe your partner's, just like making life difficult for you. Maybe your friends aren't inviting you to events. Maybe your car broke down, you got payments to pay. And being proud of being that person that can go, you know what?
How did you learn that? Because I learned it quite late, actually.
So, I have a funny story to tell you. I was about 12 years old, and we were in class, and we got our test results back. And I got mine back, and I got a D+. And I looked at it, and I was like, you know what, that's fine. I'm all right, cool. Brushed it out off my shoulders. It is what it is. I looked over at Rachel. Rachel got a B+, and she was crying. And I look over at her, and my mind, and I remember this day very visually, and seeing the way she reacted to a good result. I think for Rachel, she was like an A- A student, but to get a B+, her whole world came crashing down. And I remember feeling as though I'm so glad to not be her. When you
As a 12-year-old.
Yeah. We were in grade 4, which would have been even younger, actually. We would have been about 10 years old. And that stuck in me that, I don't want to let things negatively affect me in my life. And I think that resilience to downsides, to stress, to negative stimuli has been the thing that's allowed me to take risks. So there's been the thing that's allowed me to get back up again, even when things have been incredibly difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
It's huge. And as a guy, you really have to have it, because as you move forward in terms of your dating life, you girls, he's the killer, right? You take things too personally.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you just learn this tactic that you learn as a 12 years old, that to brush things off, let things speed away to move forward in space. And Yeah, you have probably one of the best dating lives you can pick up. Because that's the main thing. Is I have seen many guys who they take things way too seriously, like because girls will respond the way they want to, and they have the right to do it.
Yeah.
But if you just learn how to spin back on your horse,
Yeah.
it's all good. It's an infinite potential out there.
Well, the best dating advice I have for a man is that when you get rejected, stop attributing the reason for why she rejected you to be purely about you. You don't know whether she was on a date last night and the reason why she's rejected you is because she doesn't want to feel like, she's dating too many men. Maybe she's with her friends right now and she doesn't want her friends to think that, she just like goes with every man. And when you start realizing that it isn't just about you, maybe it's her temper, when it comes to, the top monk, these things
Hang on them off.
yeah. And so, I think also it's important to be someone that you're proud of. If you're not someone that's proud of what you're doing, who you are, what you've accomplished, it is hard to have this level of confidence that allows you to be able to have a successful dating life. And that's why I motivate men, do everything you can to become the best you can, but do it healthily. Don't become the best you can because you don't like yourself. It's not about, I need to achieve this, need to achieve that out of self-hatred, but it's about, hey, it's in my identity, it's in my nature to want to be someone that wants to improve because I'm going to be a learner of life. For me, that's...
As you said about intrinsic.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not betray you.
Exactly.
Objective and extrinsic drivers can sometimes betray you. I learned that in my life. It's like we all think of living in a beautiful house and everything. I went to Canada once and I bought extremely beautiful and house great apartment. I was on my own and moved myself there. And once I went to this apartment for the first time, it's called a condo, I felt such a deep in my life as a 26-year-old. I was like, what the fuck is that? So you got this, then what? Empty house on your own. Now what? It's like it's an objective extrinsic driver. Since then, I never drive myself from external. I know, okay, this penthouse can be bigger. The car can be faster, but it's going to hit me the same way again and again. And the emptiness is crazy. And it was good. At that age, I learned that. And then just what you say, it has to be bigger and human to human. I'm a human myself. Drive comes from the within, is coming from a human soul. If I meet other people, that also something that doesn't any meet more people, build better circles. Those drivers really help. They don't betray you. That's what's all interesting. Yeah. Going back to that dating duel, I've seen you said that the analyzing. When she does something, you start analyzing, and this is when you really nuke yourself.
For sure.
Future on that. And this exact group of guys who really fail on this because analytical software engineer, I've seen this. I went to one of my friends, a friend of mine from Denmark. He does events and parties and stuff like that. Bunch of guys used to turn up because he's great. The game is A+. And they wanted to learn from him. How do you do it? What's up? And I saw one pattern. Everybody is an engineer. But it was interesting. I said, okay, what's going on in here? I'm an engineer myself. And I also relate to it. It's analytical mind. We're analyzing everything. And he's analyzing what happened, what doesn't happen, what is the IO, what do I in, and output comes out. So that's a trap. Loads of guys get there. And you probably haven't had it in your life, or had you?
Oh, no, I've definitely had it. I think it relates heavily to sales as well. The crossover between female psychology in general, actually, and sales is massive. But when you're riding on the words of what someone's saying, thinking about what you're going to say, that's going to be the right thing or whatever, it makes it hard for you how to have that genuine connection. And that's where, you think about them as being someone that, could be a friend and speaking to them as if they are just...
Validator.
Yeah, but don't be a validator. If you want to attract high value women, you don't want to constantly validate them because that's what they're constantly getting as well. I was saying to my friend yesterday, if I see a girl getting approached by a lot of women, a woman getting approached by a lot of men, and she's rejecting them, and I go up to her and she also rejects me, I'm going to come back 10 to 15 minutes later and go up to her and say, hey, I want to let you know, the way that you rejected me, I found that so attractive. And yeah. and see you reject all those.
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Because then now you're on a different level.
Hell.
Because for me, I'm at a point now where the woman I actually value is the one that's conserving herself, the one that is, being reserved. Because a high value man is that's the kind of woman he actually wants, right? I used to be the kind of man that would be happy to, sleep with someone quickly, but now I've realized that my worth and my value has ascended past that, where someone that's gonna reject and the thing about it, she's got no other man coming up to her after they've been rejected and say, hey, I found it really attractive that you've rejected me and that you've been rejecting all these other guys. I really find that, very, I find that very sexy. I find that very elegant. I find that very, mature. And I can see the worth that you have in you. And that's honestly, I just wanted to let you know that. And then that gives you a second opening because before you got rejected, now you come in like that and it's genuine, it's authentic.
Yes.
And that works so well. But back to the analyzing. Analyzing, is something that you have to break down through getting out there and then repeating mistakes, getting rejected. A lot of the times when guys try and go out and they try and talk to women, they actually have to fail with 3 or 4 girls trying to talk to them before they just start like giving up with the idea of trying to impress them. So then the next girl they speak to,
Normally, it's
you're like, hey, I just saw you, bumped into you. Another thing too is like, women don't like it when a man is actively trying to go up to them to try and start an initiation. So, which is why and you can castrate it to look natural. You see the girl you really like, she's not at the bar yet, and then she's talking with her friends. She then goes up to the bar. You then go up to get your drink at the bar. You're right.
accidentally true.
Yeah. They like it when it feels natural. They like it when there's something. Like if she's got a book in her hand and you've read the book. Oh, hey, like I absolutely love that book. What do you think of it? Now it's not about her, it's about the book. It's a common interest. You've read it, and so therefore that conversation starts naturally and it's not tap, 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 tap. Hey,
She gets it all the time.
yeah. And then she gets that all the time. So, like you said, your friend, I'm at a point now, and I don't know if we'll put this in, but
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where, if a man sees that I can teach them those kind of things and it's a weekend out, in Da Nang, wherever it is in the world, hey man, I'll help you. I'll teach you everything I know, but it'll cost you $1,000 for the weekend. And trust me, I know people that are paying much more than that because and it's funny, that you talk about engineers. One of my friends, he's actually a dating coach. And he says that, his main ICP are successful men who just haven't figured it out with women yet.
Enormous.
It is the most demographic.
Theoretic, yeah, no idea. And I met a bunch of people through Thomas. I think Thomas will watch. I will give it to her. Because learned a lot from Thomas. Like not necessarily the game, the area, the number of guys, successful, wealthy, smart, that don't get it.
Yeah.
That blew my mind out. What the hell is going on? One guy came from the US. He was $5 million company sold, and 50 years old, but he doesn't get it. So he was like, "You just name the number, whatever it is, 10,000, 20,000. He's okay with it. He just was fraction of what Thomas had, 10%.
Yeah, see, I those are the kind of clients I want.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And he had another friend flew from the US back to Denmark to do the same thing. So if the chain could discontinue, I wasn't there. Moved back to Canada then. I didn't know what happened later. It's a huge number of people, and they are like, they achieved something in life, money, but somehow they couldn't stop microanalyzing behavior when they're interacting with girls. And I really like the idea that girls, seeing from the perspective of the girl, she's being bumped into like a million times. I met one girl here in Dana. It's a normal conversation, nothing else. You were just walking past, I was just asking, like, are you from here? And she was like, it turns out I was just talking. And then one talk leads to another. She said 20 guys a day she was getting hit on.
Was she really attractive?
She is beautiful. Yeah, of course. 20 guys a day. Think about it. So because the interaction is normalized and it's just a natural bumping, so but that is when she opens up and talks about it. Otherwise, just this kind of things that she sees all the time.
Yeah.
And in a nightlife environment, it's even worse because they're just getting bombarded with all that attention. Huge. And you just get another guy who is just going to go up there and just say the same line. It is never going to take.
Yeah.
maybe like once in 100. But what's the point of doing that?
Yeah.
Coming down to the point of self-worth and self-value.
Yes.
When you develop that, the game completely changes to that.
For sure. And, you know, to be honest with you, that like when it came to like women, that developed more, you know, that happened about a year ago. And before that, I also didn't have, it's funny, before that, I wasn't ever like trying to go out of my way to speak to women, you know, everything would just come naturally. But ever since I've found a realization that, oh yeah, like, you know, I can get girls, I can have a good connection with them. That's when I started actually going out to seek that more. And that's now become even, you know, partially maladaptive. When you start focusing on women too much, you're then not able to focus on your work and your business. But yeah, look, I think for most men, it should be, hey, like make yourself someone that would be worth feeling confident about, because then you just approach the interaction feeling as though you're worthy to get this girl. So if you're a fat slob, no money, don't have any goals, you're not, you know, you're not working hard in any kind of realm, it's really hard to feel as though that you can, you know, get a woman and whatnot. And that's where, you know, just building yourself up in the ways that you can.
And it's going to be very visible as soon as you approve. It's the first thing that can tell.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of those successful guys you might be referring to, a lot of them fucking work really hard to get to where they got to, and they just didn't make that time for speaking to women and actually, you know, getting that. And it's something that you can learn. It is a skill. It's not something that, you know, men either have or don't have, because I've seen men who were incredibly socially awkward be able to have conversations and be able to spark, you know, attraction. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. What about this world you have also explored, sales world? And, you know, there's a idea people want to get involved into online business. It's been like 20 years, 10 years ago it was big. But people try different ways to get there. E-com, drop shipping. I don't hear about drop shipping anymore. It was back in the days. And what else? Social media management. There's all kinds of things that people try and often mostly fail. Is because they just gets caught by the labyrinth of some another guy trying to skate through your dreams. So we have seen something interesting about the high ticket. I have also heard of this. It's basically to filter out the market where the people who are willing to buy big, or they have the ability to buy big, and somehow they figure out that you sell service to that. How this world works.
So the way it works is that you either have an online product, you have a service, you're helping businesses with biz optimization, and it's a high ticket service, meaning that it's several thousands of dollars plus, anywhere from $3,000 upwards of $200,000. You know, like Alex Hormozi can have a high ticket offer where he helps business owners scale their business. Yeah, you know, we'll teach you everything. We'll implement all of our systems, blah, blah, blah. It'll cost you $200,000. But who's the person that's actually having that conversation with these clients and these prospects? It's not Alex Hormozi.
Right.
There's someone that's the sales rep. And that's where this new world of online business, people want to get into e-com. Well, there's a service to help people get into e-com.
Right.
And, you know, then there needs to be a sales rep, right? You've got the personal thing. Usually it's a figurehead. Usually it's a someone who's done it already. And now they're showing you how they've done it. They have their whole business system, but they need people to sell for them, because they might have hundreds of people per day inquire about wanting to get help with starting an e-com business, for example. And then they obviously have these people either outbound call them if they've shown interest, or these people book directly on the closer's calendar. So you've got two types of sales reps. You've got what's called a setter, and you've got what's called a closer. A setter is someone that basically is someone's showed interest in what it is, and it might be they've given their phone number and email because they want to be contacted about what it is that you have. They then get outreach by this, what's called a phone setter, a sales setter, an SDR, and they say, hey, you know, we saw that you were interested in wanting to learn how to, you know, get into e-com, you know, what's made you interested, you know, are you ready, you know, awesome, you know, they show the interest. Hey, look, we're going to get you, you know, booked in with one of our head experts, and they're going to, you know, tell you everything, give you all the details, you know, does that sound good? Yep, awesome. So the setter can probably call 100 to 200 people per day, right?
Okay.
Now, if you book 5 people on the closer's calendar, the closer might only have 8 calls booked per day, because each one of those calls might go for an hour. So if you good estimates of how many, like your percentage of close rate should, like a good close should make 40% close rates. Like that's good. Anything lower than 20, like
You're not doing well.
yeah, you're not doing well. Anything higher than 40, you're a pretty good closer. And it depends on what you're selling. Like you might have businesses that have bad marketing. They might have bad closers and setters. And therefore it makes it really hard for it to become a nice running business, because the systems just aren't well in place. But long story short, online sales is a way for people to be able to sell someone else's product for a large amount, and it's uncapped earnings, it's time freedom and location freedom. So they can do it wherever they want in the world. They have uncapped earnings, and they also can decide their calendar. If you want to go to gym at 11 a.m. in the morning, you can. If you want to take a day off, you can. As long as you're hitting KPIs and as long as you're staying relatively respectful to what your sales manager has asked of you, there is a bit of flexibility, which is why it's funny, because like in the sales world, if you're the top sales rep for a company and you show up late to work, the boss ain't going to say anything.
Right.
Because you're the one.
Rent.
Yeah, because you print money for that person. So when you're good at what you do, you have that flexibility. And so sales is a skill that you can learn.
And you can do remotely.
You can do it remotely.
In a phone call.
Yeah, because, it's either a phone call or a Zoom call. And that's where a lot of people now are seeing the value that I don't need a university education. I can get into sales and I can start to make a lot of money.
A friend of mine who went for US bro, he was talking about, and then he found a method of SaaS, software as a service, where SaaS sales.
Yes.
So he turned around within like 6 months. He had like $50,000 in debt. Then now he's made $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm okay myself, but if I have to look for jobs, the sales reps, it sounds really interesting. So back in the days, we had a car salesman, but you have to be at the location.
Yeah.
You only can sell cars.
Yeah.
And it was like a job, but this area has evolved very different. Now, how the setters and then closers, and is this like an agency still there? They have all the people. The agencies, they have these people, they collect leads and then funnel it through that, like that.
Yeah. So in terms of like getting a sales role.
Yes, like if somebody wants to get involved with that.
So the funny thing is that the sales world is quite closed off in a way to your generic job hiring sites. Job hiring sites at the moment don't get posted on those kind of sites. At least in my experience in the 5 years that I've kind of been in and out of the industry, there would be agencies. I don't know personally of any specific agencies, but where the sales reps apply to the agency, they can now get offers to go on different different jobs, different offer. It's called an offer. The offers is essentially whatever it is, the product or the service, whatever is being sold. And a lot of it is connections. A lot of it's networking. So sales reps are the biggest networkers, I've ever met. These guys will get on calls with other sales reps to find out what offer they're on, how much they're making. Maybe they'll do a role play, just to get practice in as well. And then they find out that, okay, so this guy's on this offer, he's making this kind of money, because there are bad offers and there are sales reps that get burnt. Because they think they've been told they're going to make on target earnings of, $50,000 US, $20,000 per month. And then they find out that it was just, a lot of crap. And that's why you not only do the offers have to vet the sales reps have to vet the offer.
Offer means the product or service.
Yes.
That's the input. If it has the inherent gravity, then your sales work gets a lot easy.
Yes. So there's certain things that like I help my clients with, when it comes to like finding a right offer, like, is it validated in, how much revenue they're making per month? How many closes do they have on the offer? Have you spoken to these closers personally? What do they say about the offer? Are the sales easy to make or is it tough? Are they happy? And that's where obviously that networking comes in, where, good offers will get good sales reps because good sales reps want to go on the good offers. A lot of it is networking. A lot of it is also, like one of my close friends that I do psychology and mindset course for, he coaches sales reps. He has a business that's very successful, helping people escape the 9 to 5 and people who are already in sales get better. And then he has companies coming to him saying, hey man, we need a sales rep, is there anyone that you can recommend? And then these people almost get set up, not like direct, like, set up with a role, but hey, here's all these different roles you can apply to. So now they're also getting these offers put right in front of them for them to apply to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's not like a closely knit network of people.
Yeah. So the sales world is quite small.
They're like globally or
Yeah, global. So the sales world is.
So we were talking about the English speaking world, isn't it?
Yes.
There obviously other
Yes.
we can
Yes.
know.
The funny thing is that I was watching an Alex Hormozy clip, and it was an Indian man asking Alex Hormozy what it is that Indians can do to break into the US market.
Okay.
And he said, number one is sound like an American. And it's very true. Like I've worked with some internationals from Italy, some Eastern Europeans, kind of some Indians as well. And the biggest struggle is that when your English does not make that person feel like, they can understand you, they feel comfortable with you, they're not going to want to buy from you. So that's why, accent training is something for a lot of people who want to get into sales who don't speak English is something they should be working.
Right. It's huge because you just speaking English isn't going to cut it because you have to assimilate. Because a trust matters. Just be on trust. Okay,
for sure.
So trust has to be triggered.
Yeah.
That's an interesting advice.
But it's funny you say that. One of my clients, he's Indian, and he's on a cybersecurity offer.
Okay.
And it works it works in his favor.
Okay.
Because of the fact people get on the call with him, he's wearing a turban, he looks the part of who might be in cybersecurity. So these people see him as an authority. So therefore it works to his favor.
What is it in next?
No, Australian accent. So that probably helps too.
Okay, yeah.
But same thing, like I used to sell fitness as well. So not only I'm a psychology and fitness coach, but I also sold fitness offers. So the exact same thing that I have, I'm not at a point yet where I need a sales team, but hopefully soon that'll happen. And I was selling for a massive company, an American company. And when I was on the call, I was talking to obese Americans. Now, when I have a good physique and I'm wearing a singlet and I'm having that conversation with them, that trust level of, like if you're like obese, trying to tell someone who's obese what to do, they just won't happen. Yeah. Same with like, me being young, it's like you get these pre-assumptions and preconceived judgments about someone's ability or experience purely just based on age. I was talking to a lot of older people in their 50s. They immediately think they know more than me about everything in life. And then when I try and tell them about their fitness and their health, their ego comes in the way. And then, it makes it hard to connect with them. And so, all right. And sometimes the issue with sales reps is that, the saying money makes money,
Right.
When you are making 10K plus per month, you become so detached from needing someone's money that you don't need to constantly validate them to feel desperate. So you're also willing to push back on them when they give you answers that, are just not right. If someone says to me they want to lose weight and, it's been bothering them heaps, but then they say now at the end of the call and it's ready to pay that they don't have the time, a sales rep who's struggling, they wouldn't want to basically push back on what they've already said because they're scared that, or if I make this person uncomfortable or upset, they're not going to buy, right? But it's the person who doesn't care because they're making enough money. They're going to say to you, John, you told me earlier on in the call, it's been really badly affecting you, when your family and your work, you're feeling lethargic. And that's why we're here. Is this something you're actually willing to make the time for because it's a priority, or are you going to let this keep happening? And when you say it in the right context and that trust has been built throughout that call, you can push back on them like that. But that's where, I teach a lot of my clients that are in sales is that being able to have the awareness and that reflection of it's because of the fact that I want their money that I'm not actually being genuine with what I would say to someone if they were my friend. If my friend said to me, I want to get healthy, I want to get fit, I'm trying really hard, but then you see them having like a McDonald's Big Mac, you'd say to them hey bro, you said you would have been trying to get fit, what are you doing?
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
And now this is the world of, so let's say I have a product and software.
Yeah.
And say it's enterprise software. This is the offer. How do I get the sales reps? So they sell it.
Yeah. So you speak to me, and then I speak to my friend who knows good sales reps. I know good sales reps as well, but I'd pass one to someone that would help you out even more than I would. And then they would basically, you would need a sales manager, someone that's got experience in sales, so they can manage the team.
Okay.
And you would make sure that you set up a system where you've got your marketing in place.
Okay.
So you need to have people either registering interest or booking onto a calendar. Now you've got warm leads and cold leads, right? So you can get a list of 1,000 people in your demographic ICP, right? And I know what we're trying to build at the moment, and you can go cold call them, and I'll be like, "Who are you?" And I'll be like, "Hey, just give me a moment of your time, and I'm sure I'll be able to provide some value for you about being able to grow your following." And they hear like, "Oh, okay, maybe this guy might be able to help me." Explain to them what it is. You say to them, "Hey, look, does this sound like something that you would actually benefit from?" Yeah, it does. Awesome. Let's actually have a proper call.
That's the setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you get setters and you can get closers. You can also just have closers. You don't have to have setters. So if you have a really good business offer and you have a system where these people can see your service, they can book on a calendar to have a call to actually see what it's about. They have the call with the sales rep closer. They speak to them about, okay, what is it that's motivated you to go on this call today? What is it you're looking for? What are your pains and problems? What are your goals and desires? Hey, like based on what you've said in your effort, we can bridge that gap and actually help you get to that so that you don't have to have X, Y, Z. And there's a lot of sales skills that you learn. And, and that's why there's a bad reputation that sales reps get because they think that they're manipulating people, right? And to a certain extent, it's actually getting people, pushing them to actually make a decision and make change. Because sometimes people actually need someone to call them out on the way that they're thinking and showing them like, hey, like if you haven't, do you want help? You say that you've worked, you've done X, Y, Z, it hasn't worked. That's why you're here. And they felt they're getting pushed to make a decision, but it's because of the fact that like, well, if you don't make a decision with us, are you going to allow this problem to continue going, or are you going to do it with someone else?
Money's in the flow. The direction of money, why do you want to go?
Exactly. Same with fitness, like, is it wrong if you have a fat person in front of you that's listed out that they're in a really bad situation, they really don't like where they're at, they want to make a change, they're scared of what's going to happen if they don't, and if you manipulate them into actually investing in themselves because nothing's worked, are you inherently a bad person? Because you've kind of manipulated them into making that decision, but if it wasn't for you, they might not have had nothing happen and it get much worse.
That's right.
So it's like, it's a catch-22 because it's a moral dilemma. It's like, well, indirectly, if they actually, paid for this service, the coaching service, so if, helping them get fit, aesthetic, have more energy, all these things that I do and psychology for my clients, is it wrong that I'm doing that? Well, to some, yes. It's kind of like, for the greater good. It's like kill 5 people to save 100, right? But yeah, the world of sales is growing.
It is. It's crazy because I saw a very close friend of mine how he changed life.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my. It was a years ago.
Yeah.
Part of my doing this.
The main issue that a lot of sales reps face is that it's not many industries where you can work 8 hours a day for 2 weeks straight and have nothing to show for it.
Right.
That's really tough to deal with.
Right.
And that's where they have someone like me to provide that psychology, provide them the support they need to go through the ups and downs.
So you train sales reps and their mental, physical.
I train sales reps with their psychology and their performance and their fitness. And indirectly, that helps them make more money. But yes, I know a lot about the sales world. There's a lot more people than me that
People do all the time.
Yeah. Like I've been in sales, I've done high ticket sales, but like my best mate, he's a gun at sales. I don't position myself as a sales trainer.
Okay.
I'm a mindset and fitness coach. I've got an honors degree in psychology. I've got 10 years under my belt of fitness, and I've made both my life priority to become the best person that I can be, and showing that through the way I live, and also showing that actually I've helped people, like I've got testimonials. I've been able to change people's lives. I've been able to help men who were 21 years old, living at home, smoking weed, to then be able to actually go out and start a business, get into high ticket sales, leave their home and start making money and change their life. I've helped people who felt skinny and unconfident be able to build muscle, and I've helped overweight people lose their weight so they can have more energy. So everything around that fitness and mindset, I tell people, the kind of like person I want to be, or where I see myself in like 5-10 years. If Tony Robbins and Mike Thurston, had a baby, that I would be that baby. And that's about showing my lifestyle, achieving great in the things, like I want to, so I'm about to compete in a kickboxing fight here in Da Nang in about a month, 2 months. So, I'm wanting to compete in a bodybuilding competition. I'm wanting to, scale a business of helping people realize the synergy between their mind and body. How it's, when you work on your mind and body, the synergy of doing that helps you create a life that's really, worth living. Not that you can't live a life worth living, but for me personally, when I developed my mindset, became more mentally fortuitous, became more disciplined, became more, improved my self-esteem, and also worked on my health, also worked on my fitness. That helped me achieve so much. And I know that if more people saw their mind and body as a synergistic system, rather than working on one alone or whatnot, the combination of the two like provides you with massive life growth.
Synergy.
That's the name of business.
It's interesting to know. Okay, so the world of social media has changed. From my engineer's perspective, I saw the change coming when Meta changed the API structure from REST, which is like in and out, the graph, which is this: you send a message to your Meta's server, they match with many things, your connections, your friends, to get the proper response to try to understand what you're looking for. Okay. That changed like 10 years ago. And I dribbled down to now that association, who you're interacting, what's your niche matters more, matter most than you're following. Mm-hmm. So what should I advise them? Because you're also building a personal brand from literal scratch. Mm-hmm. You have minimum followers, but they're very high quality, high engagement. Yes. And you already have built a business around it, which is printing 5 figures, which is sub 1,000 followers. How does it work, and what's your advice to nowadays, 2026, somebody wants to build a social media, what they should not get blinded about, like, the way they do as a following, what should be focusing on?
Well, I think you first have to break it up into 2 things. Are you trying to make a personal brand to grow followers? Or are you trying to make money out of it? If you're trying to make money out of it, you need to be able to have something that you can sell and have a niche that you can sell to. It's about being authentic and being vulnerable enough to show everything about yourself, so that way people can connect with you, because people really connect with that vulnerability, because it's very hard to be vulnerable and authentic on social media. Yeah. So if you're trying to build a personal brand, it's about being authentic and vulnerable enough to show what's happening, rather than making it look like everything's pretty, because that's what everyone on social media tries to do. Is they try and show how beautiful they look. They try and show that everything's dandelions and roses. But if you can show them like, the behind the scenes, and like, I'll be honest with you, that's something I need to work on. I need to get in front of the camera more and speak to the camera about, this is how I'm facing a struggle with me trying to run a business and do kickboxing at the same time. And people resonate with that. They're now resonating more with the individual than with conglomerates. So that's why we're seeing, the individualization of social media, where individuals are now their own businesses, rather than businesses being shown to the masses.
So you think that the niche, that what you're building the content, has to be curated from the beginning, the target audience?
It doesn't have to be, like if you've never made content before, just getting in front of the camera and speaking about something, and getting comfortable with how to create content. Like I had to learn how to edit videos with editing software. And after 5 years of doing that, I can confidently, quickly chop stuff up. Now, am I as good as a video editor? No, but do I have the time to be a video editor? Well, no, I'm not a video editor. And that's why there's levels to building a personal brand, especially when you're trying to make big money out of it. First, you got to be through the trenches doing it yourself. You have to make your own content. You have to film yourself. You have to edit yourself. You have to do the caption yourself. You have to script out stuff yourself, right? Once you start making money, and once you start, getting to those upper echelons of, being able to reinvest in the business, you then start hiring an editor, a videographer. You can get a content team to help you with the content structure. Alex Hormozi, my best friend Orlando, the sales coach, he has a team of content creators. He's got multiple video editors. He's got a videographer. He has this whole team behind him. So when you first start, all you need is a camera and some confidence. Yeah.
That's you start small and get the domino effect. One up to how. And what's your advice for somebody who is already making money, let's say having life, a job, but want to expand their horizon, diameter it. So obviously, you do focus on wellness and fitness. How that can help? What's your advice for them? What steps they can take today?
Yeah, my advice for the person that, is currently doing well and wants to improve themselves would be to find something that's out of their comfort zone, that's new to them, that they can go out and do. It can be fitness, it could be clay making, it could be a sport, but something that gets you to become more than who you were yesterday. And if you're not into fitness and you want to get into fitness, it's about actually signing up for that gym, making that first step. And that feeling of uncomfort is how you know that you're growing. And when you are able to constantly push yourself to become more than who you were yesterday, you can live a fulfilling life. Like, for instance, there are a lot of people who retire. They're maybe 50, 60 years old, now looking like 60, 70 years old. They retire and they're like, well, what the fuck do I do now? But it's about realizing that, like, you need to find a new goal. You need something to aim at.
Huge. Yep. Absolutely.
Something to aim at. Always aim at something new.
New benchmark.
Yes, because people say like, oh, like the people who are always chasing goals, they're never satisfied. It's within our neurological structure to actually, want to have goals and to achieve them. Our ancestors, we saw the animal, we then hunted the animal so that we could then feed ourselves. And this primordial, like ancient system of needing to survive made us have goals, things that we needed to achieve to survive. Now we have all these comforts. We have food at a strip supermarket. We have these jobs that allow us to make money. We have a roof over our head. We have all these comforts, right? But then how do we fulfill this sense of growth and development when we have all these basic necessities anyway? And it's about doing these new things, new ventures, new ideas. One of my clients, he said, no, it's, he's in the mines, he's in sales. He's like, I really want to get into podcasts. When I started a podcast, but I'm losing the love for it at the moment, blah, blah, blah. But he came to me saying that he's, got a bit of limiting beliefs at the moment. And I said to him, I was like, man, you need to have these passions and these things outside of work, because, it's kind of like trying to push a stone up, a heavy boulder up the hill when you're already stressed out and you're not doing anything for yourself that makes you feel good as well. But yeah, trying new things. The other day I went and did, what did I do for the first time? I did something new for the first time.
Scuba diving?
No, not scuba diving. I actually haven't been scuba diving. I want to go scuba diving. But yeah, when someone presents you with an opportunity to do something you haven't done before, realizing that when you decide to like say yes to doing that, that's courage, that's confidence, and you can feel proud of being that kind of person. And stepping outside your comfort zone, that's the people
Because spending their life this way.
Yeah, it's the people that sit out of the comfort zone are the ones that people admire. And people want, we're humans, we want respect, we want to belong, we want people to like us. And so if you can realize that within yourself, that you're proud of getting out of your comfort zone and knowing that other people will see those values in you as being, something to respect and admire, it gives you a reason to go out and do it, and that's the extrinsic motive, the extrinsic motivation. Externally motivated is like, what are people going to think about me, right? Intrinsically motivated is that, I want to be someone that can, like, I want to be uncomfortable, because I know that I'm growing. So you can have both. You can have, hey, I want to be respected. That's why a lot of men, they try and achieve so much with their life. They try and, get successful in business because they want to get recognized. They want status. They want to be respected. And by doing that, they think they'll get it. And a lot of them do get it, but it's still externally motivated. And that's why you have people who come to me who are successful business people in their own right asking me, why am I not fulfilled?
Should say intrinsic is missing.
Yeah.
Great discussion.
Yes.
It was really nice meeting Jay. I will be up with you speak all the time.
Of course.